When you think of Holi, what's the first thing that comes to mind? I bet it's those incredible bursts of color, right? Music, dancing, just pure joy. It's this vibrant, amazing celebration that totally takes over the streets. But, behind all that fun, there's this ancient story, one that gets to the very heart of the festival. And to understand it, we actually have to start not with the colors, but with fire.
And yeah, that brings us to the big question. Before anyone even thinks about picking up that colorful powder, why does the whole thing kick off the night before with a fire? And we're not talking small fires, we're talking giant, raging bonfires. It feels like a total contrast, doesn't it? Fire and destruction followed by all this joy and color. Well, to figure that out, we need to unravel the legend that gives Holi all of its meaning.
See, here's the thing. Holi is so much more than just a big party. Its roots go deep into a very old story about faith, about power, and about the classic battle between what's right and what's wrong. To really get it, we need to kind of hop in a time machine and meet the key players in a conflict that ended up sparking this global celebration. And at its core, the entire festival, everything from the fire to the colors, it all boils down to this one single timeless theme. It's this powerful reminder that no matter what, goodness and truth are always going to triumph in the end. This one idea, it's the foundation for everything we're about to dive into.
So the legend really revolves around two central characters. You've got this demon king who was just completely consumed by his own ego, and then you have his young son, whose faith was absolutely 100% unshakable. And it's their conflict that really gets this whole story rolling.
So on one side, we have King Hiranyakakashipu. This guy was so powerful, he literally demanded that everyone in his kingdom worship him as the one and only God. And on the other side, his own son, Prahlad, who was a deeply devout follower of Lord Vishnu. Now, as you can imagine, the king was furious that his own son wouldn't worship him. He saw it as a massive insult to his power. So you might be asking, why was this king so arrogant? Well, he had a pretty good reason to feel untouchable. After performing some really intense penance, he was granted a special boon, a blessing from the god Brahma, that was so powerful it made him believe he was greater than any divine force out there. And this blessing was incredibly specific. Just listen to these conditions. He couldn't be killed by a man or an animal. He couldn't be killed during the day or the night, couldn't be inside a home or outside, not on the ground, not in the air, and he couldn't be killed by any weapon. He thought he had covered every single base, which made him feel totally invincible. And that is the source of his massive ego.
So the king tried everything he could think of to punish Prahlad for his devotion, but absolutely nothing worked. His son's faith was just too strong. So in a final, desperate act, he came up with this really cruel plan with his sister, Holika. This was supposed to be Prahlad's ultimate and final test.
The plan was as evil as it was simple. The king's sister, Holika, had a special power of her own. She was immune to fire. So the idea was for Holika to sit in a huge bonfire while holding her nephew, Prahlad, in her lap. The flames would, of course, consume Prahlad, and she would just walk away completely unharmed. To them, it seemed absolutely foolproof.
But then, something totally unexpected happened. As the flames roared around them, Holika's power suddenly failed her. But Prahlad, who never for a second stopped praying to Lord Vishnu, he emerged from that fire. He was completely safe, not a single burn on him. His faith had protected him when everything else was literally designed to destroy him.
And this is where the moral of the story just clicks into place. Holika's special gift, her immunity to fire, failed because she was using it for a totally evil purpose. She was turned to ashes. Prahlad, on the other hand, was saved by his pure, unwavering devotion. It's a powerful lesson. Evil intentions will ultimately destroy themselves, while goodness and faith will always endure. Okay, so how does this ancient legend connect to the festival we all see today? Well, this incredible story isn't just some myth they tell. It's the actual blueprint for the entire celebration. The two main parts of the festival, the fire and, you guessed it, the colors, they come directly from this very legend. The night before the main event is called Holika Dahan. This is when communities gather to light these huge bonfires. And that fire, well, it represents the one that destroyed Holika. It symbolizes the burning away of evil, of negativity, of arrogance, and all our bad habits. Basically, cleansing the world to make way for a fresh start. And that is why the very next day, known as Rangwali Holi, is just this explosion of life and color. The colors represent the joy and the massive relief of Prahlad's survival. It's a huge celebration of good winning out, of love and unity, and it also just happens to mark the arrival of spring and all those new beginnings. So, when you look past all the fun and the festivities, this ancient story carries a message that is still so incredibly relevant today. It's about way more than just gods and kings. It's about these deep, universal human values.
When you really break it down, these are the core lessons of Holi. The idea that goodness wins, that true faith is a force to be reckoned with, more powerful than fear, and that it's a time for forgiveness and new beginnings. The festival encourages everyone to mend fences, to repair relationships, and to just come together as a community, breaking down all those social barriers. And that really gets to the heart of what the ritual means today. Holika Dahan isn't just about a fire you see on the outside. It's this powerful reminder to look inward, to just pause, think about the negativity we might be holding on to, like anger or bad habits, and make a conscious choice to let it all go, to cleanse our inner selves.
And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? This festival is a yearly opportunity for a complete reset. So as you imagine that bonfire burning away, it's worth asking yourself, what negativity, what old habits, what grudges are you ready to toss into the flames to make room for a fresh, colorful new start?